What up, Whiskey Ginger fans? How are you? I'm glad you're back. If this is your first time, welcome. If you want to come see the Red Rocket live, you want to come see Cheeto on the road, I'm going to be touring around the country for the Red Rocket Tour. I'm so excited for this, man. I hope you come out and see me. This weekend right now, I'm currently in Denver, Colorado, loving every single second of it. Next weekend, I'm going to be in Minneapolis, Minnesota, then in Madison, Wisconsin. And then in February, I go to Bakersfield, California. I go to Detroit, Michigan, as well as Atlanta. Go to andrewsantino.com for all the dates. I'm going all over the place. I go to Seattle. I go to Portland. I go to Philly. I go to Miami. I'm everywhere. So come see me. Also, subscribe. Do all the right things. Like the video. Comment on audio podcasts wherever you are, whenever you are. Please do it. Help us out. Support us. We appreciate it. Spread the word. Go join our Patreon. It's in the link below. If you want to get exclusive content, one-on-one Q&A stuff that we're going to be doing this month, which I'm super excited to bring to you guys. And also on the website is the tour dates and the merch. We have a bunch of Red Rocket merch that you guys can pick up to keep showing that love, baby. But for now, enjoy the episode. Do you like Guy Ritchie? I like me some Guy Ritchie, baby. He's one of my favorite directors, actually. The beauty that he made, which is Snatch, which is one of the best movies of all time. Is that a dog? You like dogs? Yeah, I like dogs. Guy Ritchie has a new movie coming out. It is an incredible action movie that comes out next Friday. An all-star cast. It's funny, smart writing. It's Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, Henry Golding, Michelle Dockery, Jeremy Strong, Eddie Marson, Colin Farrell, and Hugh Grant. Everybody likes him, man. Doesn't get any better than that lineup. That sounds incredible. McConaughey plays a kingpin named Mickey Pearson who runs a London-based weed empire. Bro, it's a stretch. It's going to be a stretch. He tries to cash in, get out of the game. He puts in a motion of a series of schemes, of course, blackmail that's going to get him in trouble. Guy Ritchie really returns to his gangster roots on this one. And I got to tell you, it looks pretty good. So go see The Gentleman in theaters everywhere January 24th. That is next Friday. Go check it out. If you're a Guy Ritchie fan like I am, I think you're going to like it, man. I think he made some wonderful films. He is a smart, cool, keen director who uses a lot of unique shots to really tell his story. And if you haven't seen Snatch, I highly suggest you go watch that. Sherlock Holmes as well, but I lean more towards the Snatch category of British comedy, action movies. But this movie sounds fantastic, and it looks fantastic. Starring your boy, Matthew McConaughey. All right. So go see it January 24th in theaters everywhere. It's called The Gentleman, ladies and gentlemen. Go watch The Gentleman.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Whiskey Ginger. My guest today is one of my favorite people on earth. I say that for all my guests, but I mean it once again today. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Dr. Drew.
How do you know it's welcome back?
Why is it welcome back?
I mean, we want new people too.
Yeah, new people are coming all the time, but it's welcome back because it's like you've been here before. You know how Cheers was like where everybody knows your name?
Oh, I see.
Don't you want to feel that way everywhere you go?
I like that. I like it. Makes me feel good.
Do you have Do you have places that you go to where they know who you are beyond knowing who you are in a social realm? Do they know personally who you are?
Kind of.
Nah, not really. Do you?
Yeah.
When you're too recognizable, it's hard, huh?
It starts the other way.
That
yeah.
sucks. I like when I meet people who don't care about the business and then they like you because they see you a lot. And then if they find out that you're in the business, that's kind of fun. And then they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know you did that shit." And then you're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "I don't care about that stuff."
What's weird about that is, and I take people at their face value. But when I'm with other people, they go, "They knew who you were all the time. They knew. I'm like, why would they say that? Why would they do that then?"
Yeah, because people, well, like, you know, how many times you get somebody that comes up to you and goes, "I'm a huge fan." You're like, "Oh, thanks," and then they don't know what to say afterwards. Then they just go,
I feel bad for people who do that.
Yeah, and then you don't. Well, because I think people are, people want to say hi to you. They're interested in you, but after that, it's kind of hard. I like my little nook places I like to go to, restaurants and coffee shops, because I can tell they have nothing to do with Hollywood and all that stuff, and they don't care.
Well,
so it's really
I
nice.
love people. I really, really, really dig people.
You do, huh?
Yeah, like crazy. Like I'm fascinated with them, and I just love to be around them and stuff. And so the fact that there's a lower barrier to contact, I love that. That's good for me.
You like it?
Yeah, because I'm a shy person by nature. I'm really very withdrawn. I wouldn't go out and reach out. It's very uncomfortable for me to do that.
Really?
Yeah.
You like when you say shy. When you say shy, you mean like in a party setting. Let's say you go to a party and you don't know anybody.
I'd go in the corner.
You don't talk to anybody.
I would if people started talking to me, but it's hard for me to initiate. It's just weird. It's just how I am.
Why? Childhood? You think that's something from
It feels a little constitutional, like I was a kind of a shy kid, and it feels like like a posture almost. You know what I mean? That I have to compensate for all the time, and I can compensate for it very, very, very well. But left to my own devices, I'll just shrink back.
Huh? Yeah, I'm the polar opposite.
There are a lot of people though in performing positions that do that.
Yeah, a lot of people. There's a lot of comedy. A lot of comedians or performers have this anxiety in front of normal people or whatever. I seem to have neither. It doesn't get. I don't get anxiety. I mean, I get anxiety because of excitement, but I don't get nervous in front of strangers. Just like I don't get nervous in front of people that I know. It's my level of.
Didn't you have a bunch of brothers? Is that
no? I don't have. I have one. I have one sister. Okay. No brothers. Okay. Yeah, one sister. No, but I mean, I just don't. We have a massive family. Mom's one of 10.
That's what I heard. Yeah, there was a big because it feels like
it's like
you're
30
used to being
cousins. Yeah,
you're used to being around a big.
Get over it is what they would say.
Yeah,
get over it. Oh, you don't like this? Get over it. Yeah, I come from a get over it generation. I did your show. I had a wonderful time on the show.
You're great.
You're over at the YMH Studios. You guys need to watch and listen to all of Drew's stuff. I want you here on my show because I have questions that I'm curious about what's going on in the world as far as sexuality. Okay. Like I really want to know.
All right, let's
because I'm genuinely.
I may not be able to answer. So let's see.
But I think you can.
I can speculate.
Yeah, I think you know better than most people. So like my biggest thing is, okay, the debate over whether or not you can be. Asexual. Asexual means not attracted to either, right?
It means yes. It also usually means no sex interest.
Right.
No sexual interest.
Now, this is a real thing or no?
Well, I'm concerned about that group. It is a real thing.
Yeah.
But people are. It frustrates me because people are so prone to run to an identity, whether it is gender or sexuality or other, that they don't contemplate that there could be things contributing to this. For instance, in my clinical experience, when I've had people that reported asexuality, I found serious endocrinological problems. And so asexuality, particularly in a male, needs a medical workup. Now, it may just be an orientation. It can be.
Right.
But first, a thorough endocrine workup. It's so... Prolactin-secreting tumors and pituitary are so common, and they shut down sexuality. Wow. And it's in the easy. It's common. And so for people to go, yeah, I'm not interested in sex, I therefore am. No, that's a symptom, and it may be because you are, or it may be because of something that's medical.
Holy shit!
And this drives me insane.
Yeah,
that people are diagnosing themselves, without any evaluation.
Well, don't you think that's the whole? This is why I'm so interested in it. I was watching a show the other day. Don't you think everybody self-diagnoses? Or I think everyone is placing themselves all the time now.
Yeah.
And look, I may be old school. I'm a straight white male who likes vagina, so it's like
I can't be around you. I got to get out.
No, it's like get out, get out. My blinders are on heavy because I don't understand.
You got your privilege going, man.
Well, I do. I just actually wonder. I just got my privilege card over there at the desk. I'll show you. Yeah, it's gold plated now. No, but I think the crazy thing for me is like how like I've never had to encounter that stuff. Now I'm always aware of other people's feelings and differences and voices that need to be heard, right? So I'm not shutting people down. I'm just saying...
No, you're not marginalizing people.
No, but it is weird to me sometimes when I think people seamlessly go in and out of, I'm this, no, I'm this, no, I'm this.
Right.
But I think it's just because of a social comfortability level. I don't know if they really know.
Well, some of these things are the result of success, everybody. We've developed a familiarity with psychiatric concepts, and people have an understanding of what some of these phenomena are. But you would not diagnose that anymore. You would diagnose pneumonia in yourself, right?
Right, yeah.
Right. So that's a problem, the way they're relating to it. What is
this? Is the feds are coming in.
Really? I can't wait to see
when
them.
the military choppers go over.
Oh,
that's how. This is how we know that because this thing shakes.
Fantastic.
Well, scary is the real word. You know what I mean?
I love it.
They're gonna bomb us any second.
Okay. Well, we'll keep going anyway.
Keep going. Yeah.
So moving in and out of these diagnostics categories, but then they also are moving in and out of these just identity categories because you get great social cred for that. There's a lot of social equity.
Right.
A lot of it.
So how much of it is real?
It's all real, but it's highly reinforced. Well, some of it may be mistaken, right? You may just be mistaken. You're not. You think you're in a certain diagnostic category. That's not for you to decide. An objective observer is to do that. And how you feel an identity, that's real. How you identify is real.
But what if it's a social construct?
Well, it all is a social construct.
That's what I'm saying.
right?
So how do you know what you? So
It's all a social construct.
what if it just is what makes you feel good because there are people around you reinforcing it?
Okay.
Then it's fine.
I have no objection to that.
No,
Whatever
I think
it
it's
is.
fine. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, how much of it is?
The question is, would it be as pervasive were it not as socially reinforced? That's your question.
That's what I mean.
And it's almost impossible to answer that.
Yeah, who would know?
Yeah.
God, that's so strange. Do you think all men have gay experiences when they're young?
No,
You think not all men?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I remember having affectionate feelings towards males around age 8, 9, something like that, like confusingly affectionate feelings. But it was not sexual and it was
Right.
not romantic.
What was it?
It was affectionate.
Just saying,
And-
I feel a lot of love from a man.
Yeah, lovey, warmy, kind of some confusing feeling.
But from a peer, not from. I'm not talking about like from a family member, like someone your own age.
Yeah. And the developmental psychologist will tell you that it's very, it sort of happens. It's something, and some people stay with that, and some people move on through that.
I had one gay moment. I remember being in high school. I went to a basketball game. I had quit the team because I'd found drugs. Like I fell in love with drugs and partying in high school, so I quit basketball. And then I went to a game senior year with some friends, and I got really high. I got really stoned, and I figured when I got there, I was like, this is a bad idea. I'm like seeing all my old teammates, all this stuff. And there was like a player on the other team, and I was really, really high. And there was a player on the other team, just a super good looking, like a superb athlete, this young black dude, like really tightly shaved head, like just super buff dude. And I remember for a moment I was like, oh, that guy's really hot. And then I was high, so I was like, I'm not gay. I had to like tell myself I'm not gay because I'm high. It's like my one moment where I'm like, you're not gay, don't do that. But I kept looking, I was like, this guy's just so like.
Well, but I think sometimes when people talk about all men having a gay experience, they're talking about things like that. Where these sort of there are fleeting attractions and fleeting appreciations and stuff like that, which is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it happens. But what I mean is I think I've heard it before from kids from youth. Like I never had anything when I was a kid on my like development, when I was going through puberty. But I hear that a lot, that people do have people have experiences when they're going through puberty or right before. They have these things where they like play games with boys and they touch each other and do all this stuff. And I never had that.
And circle whatevers and that kind of stuff.
Circle jerk stuff.
Yeah, but I think that is not as common as people imagine, but it's not rare.
Okay. If it's not rare, but it's not as common, it means it happens enough.
It happens enough that it's a little surprising, I suppose.
Right.
But it all goes down under experimentation.
Right.
And in a weird way, some of that stuff goes more towards hypermasculine males because those tend to be those kids.
So the more bro you are, they tend to be the more
it's just been my experience. It's been my experience that those and now maybe that's a compensation they get with later or something. I don't know. I don't know.
That's you heard it here first, kids. Dr. Drew said it that if you're getting picked on in school, the buff bro that picks on you probably sucks dick after school, and that's why he's feeling insecure, and that's why he picks on you. So that's what Drew said. I didn't say that. That's what Drew said. You heard it.
A little more complicated than that, but
right. But that's right on the nose.
Santino speaks.
No, but I think I'm fascinated with that world of like what was like this, because here's the thing. Now as an adult, again, I come from this narrow point of view of like all I know, and I never had I never experimented. I never had like the only thing I had with another guy, I did a threesome one time in college with a friend, the devil's threesome, me and a buddy and a girl.
Yep.
And it was the worst thing I've ever done in my entire
Why?
life. Oh, I hated it this was a buddy of mine. I loved him, but like, I didn't want to like hear him have sex. It was weird.
Yes, I would imagine.
Vocalized like he said, he was like, I think he said like, "Oh, take it" or something like that, and I was like, "Ah, shit! Like I got to get out of here." I couldn't.
Yeah,
it just it threw me off so much.
Yeah.
Listening to another guy talk dirty, like especially because it's your friend. You know what I mean? It was so weird.
I could see that.
But that was the only time I ever like even had another sexual experience with a guy. But like nowadays, I feel like, and I sound like my dad, but like kids nowadays, they just throw their finger in and suck and fuck. Like a family friend of ours was like, a blowjob is like a handshake in high school now. It's like sexuality has just gone way faster than we ever did.
How long ago did you hear that?
It's like a year ago. She was just
I
talking
think
about
there's
it.
been a bit of a pullback from some of that.
Really?
I think the Me Too thing really.
Oh, well, okay.
I think it really and it's created a kind of a weird separation, which is, and I've been expecting this for a long time because women have been signing up to be a 17-year-old male. That's what they thought they needed to be.
Right.
And that's not consistent with their motivational priorities. And now they're going, what? Oh, what is it? Oh, I can feel, oh, wait a minute.
Right.
And they're sort of pulling back. What's weird is, oh man, this is where I'm going to, this is highly speculative.
Yeah.
What I think I'm seeing, let's put it that way, is the average male is completely shut down and scared right now. My sons just finished college and stuff, and they were sort of reporting to me what was
college
going on.
must be the worst place in the world.
They just don't want to be seen as anything.
Right.
They don't know what the move is. They're scared. They don't want to misstep. They don't want to be seen as.
They don't want to end up on a blog.
They just want none of it. They want to be a nice person, and that's what they are. And they don't want to be accused of something else.
Right.
So therefore, please tell me what the rules are. I'm not really sure what they are. Right. And so they're largely shutting down. So you have a lot, and by the way, hiding out in porn. They're like, I got porn, I'm all right.
So that's what I was going to ask you about. Is the porn the increase of like
the porn is given a place to hide out.
Yeah, but it's probably gone through the roof, right?
It's also caused a problem in that because they're hiding out there, they're not engaging in the usual developmental milestones of trying to hook up and dating and all these things. They're just like, I'm out. And they hide out in porn. And then here's an interesting thing that starts to happen. Around 23 to 25, we heard a lot of this on Love Line of the Day, they'd fall in love with some girl. They date through just socially, and they're in. And they'd ask her out, and she didn't reciprocate. So they tell the story this way: like, I found the one, I got the one, she's the one for me, but she wasn't ready to date yet. She just wasn't ready. So I've been her friend, been waxing her car every week for the last 3 years. I do her carpets on Sunday, and she's had a bunch of bad guys in the meantime, but I've been there to help her out, to help her through it. This is all the time. And then he'll go, I put in 2 years now. And now it's time.
Attack mode.
Now it's time.
You've like been in the gym training. You're like, I'm ready for the fight.
I heard this a ton. And most women have got this guy that they could identify as this guy.
What?
And that is full on stalking behavior.
Yeah, that's creepy. That's fucked up. That's so creepy.
They don't know they're stalking. They think they're playing by the rules.
That's the nice guy thing. Yeah.
And it's really sad. And it's because they don't have the developmental missteps and trial and error of trying to fumble through relationships. They don't know. Well, and so it's really getting to be bad. On the other hand, there is a bunch of sex happening, but it's in a very narrow, only a few guys and a few girls.
And they're having sex extremely consensually, probably because they're already boyfriend and girlfriend.
Or whatever it is, there's a smaller group that's engaging in it, but those are the ones getting all of it.
The side dude, the friend zone guy is very creepy.
Very sad.
That's really creepy. Well, do you look at Harry Met Sally said it the best. If you don't know that movie and you're too young to know what that is, you should watch that movie. It's one of the best movies I think I've ever watched. But he always joked. He was like, men and women can't be friends. And it's like the never-ending debate. Well, do you think we can?
Yes, you can be. But not, it's hard in your prime reproductive and courtship years.
Sure.
Because usually, and I'm saying they can't be friends. I'm not saying they can't be friends. What I'm saying is, listen to me carefully and don't misquote me, is that usually the connection occurs because somebody's attracted and interested.
Sure.
And then when it goes to friend zone, other person not so interested. So attracted person kind of settles for friend. And sometimes that can be a good friend. Sometimes that can be a genuine friendship. But often, that's the male. Often.
Oh, not always.
And he's waiting like a lion in the brush. He's
just waiting for the switch to happen.
Just waiting to put his paw down.
Do you have female friends?
I do. I have lots of female friends. I like having female friends.
But do you have female friends that you didn't meet through your wife or through your family?
Work. A lot of female friends through work.
Okay. Could you organically meet someone in the public sphere with outside of work or family?
I think I could. I really could.
You do?
Yeah. I'm just super happy in my relationship, and I like women. I like men. I like women.
Sure.
And so I think I could.
Don't you see?
I'm not sure I could have it. I definitely could have it. Could not have it at 17. I'm not sure I could have at 25.
Right.
But
But how do you explain that to you? This is the thing I'm interested in. How do you explain that to your significant other? How do you come home and go, I was at Gelson's. There was this woman in the same aisle. We were looking for the same thing. We had this weird connection, this thing. And, she knew who I was. And she said, I'm very interested. My husband and I are fans. So now, she establishes I'm not single.
Yeah.
Right. And then that has to be the thing, the first thing that's go up. Right. And she says, oh, And I'm such a big fan of you, and I would love to get coffee with you sometime and just chat. And then what do you say to your wife? You say, I met this woman at the thing. What's your wife's first response?
But I always.
What does she look like?
Oh yeah,
That's it.
Yes, of course.
Okay, but then it's like.
But I always try to put myself in my partner's shoes. How would I feel if she came home with this? I'd be like, suspect. I don't know. I don't dig it.
Okay.
And so I don't even want to put her through it. I wouldn't even do it.
So you'd say, no, we can't have coffee.
I would say we can go as a couple sometime. But already I'm kind of weirded out about people pushing that kind of thing.
So this is So this is validating what I'm saying. It's almost impossible to meet a friend in the real world of the opposite sex.
It's challenging.
It's almost impossible. How could
you're laying it at the feet of your female partners, though. You're making it impossible because of them.
Well, if I was single and they were single,
it'd be tough.
It'd be even harder then. Because
it'd be harder. You could, let's put it this way: what if somebody you were really interested in and she really was not? Could you settle for friend? And actually be a friend?
If I'm single,
you're single, she's single, you're really into it, she is really not. Would you? And it's somebody you really enjoyed, and instead of
no,
see, I could.
I couldn't do it.
I could do that.
If I'm single,
I could not at 25. I could now.
If I'm single,
how old are you now?
I'm 36.
Okay, yeah, you're young still. It's like,
but if I'm single and if I was single and they are also single, and I immediately am like, the whole reason that I'm engaging with them is because I'm attracted.
Yeah.
There's no way for me to go backwards and go, we could just be buds. Unless,
what if it's just a crazy and interesting person? And
nah.
Okay.
Women aren't that interesting. We'll be right back. No, I'm kidding. God, Jesus, take a joke. No, but I think if enough time has passed, then maybe
that becomes
right?
just a person.
Yeah,
right.
if I'm attracted to you, you're not attracted to me. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
And then 2-3 years later, I'm with someone, she's someone, or whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. Then.
All right. Okay.
But that's because tribulation. It's because things have happened. It's
because people become people at a certain point.
I think it's just because you can get rid of I think the attraction can go away once you found out that they're not into you. Then they look different. How about this? Does your brain physically have a switch in chemicals when you are interested in somebody?
Yeah.
And they're interested in you, right? And then you have this connection. Is this true or not that over time you slowly start to lose what you liked about them from the beginning? Now, you may like other stuff.
Yeah. So, little inconclusive. I can't say there's one thing that happens to every given couple.
Sure.
Some will retain that initial whatever. Like for instance, I feel the way I feel about my wife is when I first laid eyes on her. It's weird. I just have the same feeling. I don't know if that's healthy or not.
You're like a Disney movie. Yeah.
But most people shift into a different part of the brain called the anterior cingulate. That the anterior cingulate is more the part of the brain that starts to now in the initial thing, it's all reward apparatus, opioid system, drive systems,
right.
All that same kind of addictive chemistry, really. But it feels good. You get high from it, right? But later that settles, and you get into something that's considered a little more nourishing, a little more sort of holistic, fulfilling, connected. That kind of thing.
So you begin to like other things about the person.
It's a more I don't know how else to describe it except holistic.
Holistic, yeah. It's a lot of nature. If it's like a homey feel.
Yes, part of it is nurturing feelings. Yes.
Well, then why do you think? God, we had like all this conversation last night. Me and the old bag. The fans know I called her my old bag. We had this conversation last night because there was a celebrity on the Golden Globes that she was talking to me, and I was cleaning up the office, and she had asked me. She was like, "Look up how long she's been with this person or whatever." So I went on the Wikipedia, and the same year she got divorced from a guy she was with for 13 years. Boom, she fell in love and married another guy that she's now only been with for whatever, a couple of months at a time.
Suspect.
Right. It's just like, well, how long has that been going on, and what did you? My whole thing is that's
somebody who needs therapy. I look at that and I go, somebody who can't be alone, can't be single, can't.
The immediacy of I need to get into something.
And the intensity of all that. See, people confuse intensity and love. People confuse intensity and love.
Right. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so intensity, while intensity is fun and can be part of a relationship, if intensity is everything you got, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah, then it's just intense.
Do you think intensity can grow into something real?
It could, yeah, it can. You have to, it's not the average bear that can do that.
So, well, because I think I've told you this on your show, that I never had a belief. I have a jaded belief in like what falling in love is. I don't believe in it in my personal world.
Well, let me just tell you the people that study it. I think I told you this. Usually, at least in a male, it is lust at first sight that works out.
that works out.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Lust at first sight that works out.
So men almost always can't fall in love.
They confuse lust and love.
See?
Yeah. They
Do men
confuse it.
fall in love?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Will I ever find? No, I just don't know what. I just think like I guess I've been so inundated with what the fake versions of love are.
Yeah.
That I never really bought into them.
And defining exactly what it is a very challenging phenomenon.
It's not.
Right?
It's made up for everybody. You know, like the same person that's like, I'm wildly in love. They're divorced a year later. It's like, oh yeah, were you wildly in love? Like, what are the parameters of love anyway? So I just think that's why I've never. When somebody says in love, were you in love?
Yeah.
I always say no. I don't know what that is. I love the old bag, but I don't know what in love is. I don't.
Have you been in lust?
Yeah, I've been in lust.
Did that feel like something?
We were in lust when we first met.
Right. And did it feel like it grows into something a little more in certain?
It totally changed.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so that's what love is.
It's not that it doesn't exist anymore. It's just something completely different. Especially when you like make a home with someone
You
and
have
you
a
live with
house,
someone
a
for
life,
years. And,
absolutely, a family.
Yeah,
You're
years and years and years.
You're a team. You know.
Right. So that dynamically changes. But yeah, when I was young, when I was young, I wasn't even anywhere close to love. It was always just pure, or what would be love. It was always lust. It wasn't like I never wanted to.
Okay, so the part that was missing, right? That people say for love, you have to have attachment.
Yeah.
You have to allow the attachment to occur, and that's a kind of a complicated process.
Right.
And then you have to have commitment, right? You actually have to agree to stay and see it through, even when there's conflict. And you have to have a certain amount of mutuality where you're respecting and mutually just attunement to each other and willing to, take each other's feelings into account. And that helps this whole thing grow with lust. Lust, I think lust is actually underestimated. I think it's very important.
But people pretend like it's.
No, I think it's very important.
It's like the bad thing. Like,
no, it's not a bad thing. It's a very important thing. And
You have to have it.
It's a glue. It's a kind of a glue that keeps people going.
What if the glue loses its stick?
It does. It naturally does, right?
Yeah, right.
And so it can't be the only thing.
Do you have to get new glue? What do you do, Drew? How do you get the
you
adhesive
allow these
stronger?
other things to grow and blossom.
And the chemicals of those make the glue stronger. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I just think I'm fascinated with it because I'm fascinated with like the amount of time that people are like we reward people publicly and how long they stay together.
Yeah.
But the irony of that to me is like I know a lot of people that stay together for a long time that never should have stayed together for a long time. And not like I'm saying it's not valid. It's just like I think we have these fake notions that we publicly push out and we also reinforce societally of like every television show, every stand-up set, every something when they're like, how long you been together? And like 32, like 32 years. And it's like this weird, but like what if he beats the shit out of her and she hates it? Do you know what I mean? Like I hate the idea that like a length of time proves your relationship worth. That bothers the shit out of me because I think.
And by the way, who
knows?
I believe that the reality of relationships is very similar to the reality of like recovery from drug addiction. It's one day at a time. It's really not the cumulative thing. It's what's happening today.
What's happening right now.
Yeah. That there are effects of the cumulative, and the cumulative have value, but what's important is what's going on right now. One day at a time. One day at a time. And if you feel today the way you did 10 years ago, good. Yeah. We're there. But if you're struggling or you're conflicted, and even though you put those years together, it's like, this thing is, something's wrong.
Yeah. But how long what do you do to fix those things?
Depends. That's where couples therapy comes in.
Right.
It's a very complicated question.
Right. That's deeper. That's a deep cut.
It's a specific question. It's like, what is going on with that couple?
Right.
And the one thing you will never hear anybody say who's tries to help people establish health in their relationship is, hey, open it up. Bring somebody else in. That'll help you.
Yeah.
So these people that advocate, polyamory and all this stuff, it's like, no, there are armies of people trying to help, and that's not ever their advice. 90% of people with extra whatever, outside the primary relationship, 90% eventually fail. 90%. Now, I'm not saying polyamory per se. I'm saying a couple who would start allowing
other things and all that shit. Yeah. But polyamory, what's the stats on that? Do they stick together?
I don't know the data.
I wonder.
Have you seen those TV shows about it? It does not look super happy for the women.
They're funny, though. They're very funny to watch other people do that shit.
I get sad when I see that.
It's so funny. Dude, they know what they're getting into from the beginning. You know what I mean?
They do, but they don't. They're in denial about what this is going to really be like. They don't know. Sure. How would you know?
So what you're really saying is, because by the tone of that sounds like they're all you think they're all going to fail. That none of those can really work.
I don't know the... No. What I'm saying is, let me be super clear. The extent of my data is watching reality shows and watching Big Love on TV. Yeah. That's the extent of my experience.
Doctor,
so I have no business talking about
Yeah.
it. Looking at those people those women look very unhappy. And so
The women look the most unhappy.
Yeah.
The dudes are like, this is chill.
Yeah.
It's the same way I feel about the, what is it, LDS? Is that what it is? Yeah,
Yeah.
when they have like, 6
Yeah.
wives or whatever. It's like, those women look like they're robotic.
Well, did you remember the Bill Paxton Big Love series?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
it
well
was really
done.
good. Yeah,
So
it was
well
really
done.
good.
To me, it seemed like that was a honest exploration of what it would be like.
Well, it was because I think it was taken after what's his name. It was based on that guy. What was that dude's name? How come I can't think of him? Who had the ranch?
The horrible guy?
What was his name?
That horrible dude?
Yeah, well, yeah, he was horrible.
Yeah.
What's his? I can't remember the dude's
I
name.
can't remember his name
And I
either.
see his face because
Where they all look all dressed like Amish
slaves.
Yeah,
slaves. I mean, they
Robots.
They were terrible. I mean, but when I see that, I always go
Jeffs was his
Jeffs.
last
Damn,
name? Yeah.
you're
Something
right
Jeffs,
there.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, so-
Someone right now on the comments is like, you know. Yeah, but that kind of stuff is. I just think like it can't be real. Like I've had a discussion.
Hey, don't never say always or never.
Sure.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber. Never say never. I understand. That is your guru. Bieber is your guru. That's
He
who you
is.
get a lot
I
of your
know,
stuff
you,
from.
You know that. You've said that always.
I understand that. No, we do, but I guess I'm fascinated in like I'm fascinated with the world of like the idea that like, you know, none of us fit into any category, but yet we all seem to fit into a category.
We're like, as Adam used, when Adam and I used to do Loveline over the years, he'd just go, we can see patterns. We can predict certain things. He goes, if you understand how polar bears behave, you don't say it's impossible. You observe the behavior of 20 polar bears. You go, we're seeing some patterns here. This is what polar bears do.
This is what they tend to do.
Humans are the exact same. Not that there are individual variations and there's nuances, but there's patterns to human behavior. We're mammals. And so there's some predictability to some of the things. One of the really interesting areas that you would, I think, like talking about is attraction and where that comes from. Because that's a very mysterious
Yeah, I don't
process,
understand.
right?
Do you ever have a thing where if somebody goes, if a lot of people tend to find one person attractive, I feel weird when I'm like, I think that person is very unattractive, right? Like there's a girl, like there'll be a girl that a few of my friends would be like, oh God, she's so hot.
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, oh God, she's so unattractive to me. And I can't, and then I do this thing where I go, am I weird that I think none of these qualities that they like are...
Can you show one to me?
Yeah.
Because then I could tell you what maybe is going on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'll show it. Let me show you.
This would be good.
This is very funny.
This is awesome.
Like a buddy of mine a friend of mine had sent me an Instagram profile and was like, and this is someone I've met before. This is someone I know. Obviously, we're not going to share it with the audience.
Yeah.
But like,
You know the woman in the Instagram profile.
I know her personally. I met her a few times, and a few of my friends then, and we've hung out.
And you already so when everyone looks at her picture and says, "Oh my God, she's so attractive," you know the person. They don't.
No. I'm saying okay. So this is someone that my friend knew from years ago, and I think they dated a little bit.
Okay.
And then I've known her in and out over the years. I run into her somewhere. You know what I mean? Like Hollywood bullshit.
And you found her not particularly attractive.
Never, but like the group of guys that I met her with.
Okay.
They were all like, "What do you mean?
Okay.
You're nuts." Okay, this is you can just scroll through there. Just make sure the camera doesn't see it because I don't want.
All her.
Yeah, that's her Instagram. So I'm just saying, like, she used to hang with a friend of mine, but I'm like, she's not ugly, but like they think she's so sexy, and I'm like, no, I like not even a little bit. It's not even honestly, genuinely, not even.
Well,
like,
this is somebody that has very specific kinds of features, right?
In here, we pour
Whiskey Ginger fans. If you're in the mood for something new, something unique, something delicious, Screwball whiskey, baby. Everyone's the black sheep in the family. If you're like me, you are at least. There's always one black sheep in the family. And if you're like me, you like Screwball whiskey. This stuff is good. It's so good. It's got a peanut butter flavoring to it. I told you before, I put it in my coffee. Sometimes I put it in my ice cream. Sometimes I just drink it straight up. Put it on the rocks. Mix it with something. Whatever you got to do to get that Screwball in your body. It's good stuff. Made here in Southern California. An OB, baby. Came out of the back of a noodle house. How much cooler can you get? Something like that. But this stuff is delicious, man. It's a great product. It's nice and smooth. It's only 70 proof, which is nice. So it's going to get you liquored up, but it's not going to get you blind. You're not going to blind black out on this stuff. You're going to drink it responsibly if you're over 21 years of age in the United States of America, everywhere else. Drinking laws are different, man. I don't know. Okay? But here you got to be 21, all right? But do yourself a favor, go buy some Screwball whiskey. It's available almost everywhere and anywhere. Drink it responsibly. 70 proof, my friends. It is a delicious juice that I highly recommend. Pick it up at your local store. And go ahead, hashtag get screwed. Huh? Push it around. Get screwed. Get screwed. Go to screwballwhiskey.com for way more info about this beautiful product. It's the most original and award-winning peanut butter whiskey, now available everywhere. It's the most award-winning peanut butter whiskey on this here earth that we're circling around that might or might not be flat, depending on what you believe. But right now, back to the episode.
Ginger. I like gingers.
That you're either kind of in or you're not.
Right, I'm so far
but she
out.
is a little sexy too.
So you think she's sexy?
I think the way she presents herself. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that can be almost anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's
but
easy
she
to-
pulls it off. She pulls that
Right,
off.
right,
And I think that's what they're reacting to. And then it's somebody with like real specific traits that I could see how somebody could be either in or out with.
Oh, it's so far out
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
It's like the polar opposite.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is when you said that, when you go,
So me, I look at that and I go, ooh, I wonder what kind of person that is. That's because she's not just lust. It's like, I wonder what's going on with her.
yeah, but for me, that's like a, and I don't even know her that well. So it couldn't be one of those things where I'm like, oh, it's like a sister or a friend, or like someone I know too well. I don't know her that
No,
well.
I
but-
get it. I get it.
But it was
I
always
see
like-
what the issue is. I see it. I feel it. But what's interesting? What's interesting with women again, when women have sort of multiple categories of attraction, right?
Sure.
They can have they can find somebody very like sexually kind of appealing, but not attractive. You know what I mean? They separate arousal and drive.
Ooh.
See, us appetite and arousal go together. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
that's what we're saying.
we find somebody arousing, there's a drive attached to that. They can be aroused and go, well, I don't know what you're talking about. I think the guy's just attractive. Why do you accuse me of wanting to have sex with them?
See, but okay, this is something we got into the other day that I was like, we saw a guy, there was a guy at Whole Foods and he was so fucking hot, this Australian guy. I'm like, look at this fucking guy.
You again.
He was so hot. It was undeniable.
Maybe you are gay, man.
I am gay.
let's check
I'm
this
gay. No, but he was so undeniably attractive. I was like, look at this fucking, and everybody's looking at him, it's like, look, he knows, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and it was also like, he had like 3 little kids with him that probably weren't his kids, you know what I mean? Like one of these cool guys that's like, I'm a big brother, he's Australian and all this bullshit. I was like, this hot guy. But I was like, you see this fucking hot guy in the corner, walking around being all hot and shit? And she was like, yeah, he was attractive. And I was like, cut it out. That guy was hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she was like, no. I mean, yeah, he was very attractive. But then in the car ride home, I was like, you wouldn't fuck that guy? And she was like, I don't think so. And I was like, no, there's no way.
Right.
We looked at the same guy and you wouldn't go, yeah, I would fuck that guy. I'd go, yeah, if I had a vagina, I'd fuck that guy.
They often have not always, but often have another category, which is like nice. Like the guy's got to be he's
got to have some kind of
something that makes him appealing to me, and,
Right.
and nice is and they've studied this at length, and women often will talk about that sort of quality that I don't know how else to describe it except sort of nice,
like sweet or not, or in,
just appealing and nice, and
it has a warmth that they believe in.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we like the reason this is so interesting to me because I've openly said that like most, if not all, men that I know could never date a girl or be with a woman who they don't physically find pretty attractive. Okay, I know a good amount of women that could or have or will or do date men that they don't find super physically attractive, but that doesn't trump everything.
Which to me just goes under the category of women put up with so much shit.
So much shit, it's unbelievable.
It's just unbelievable.
Well, but also at the same time, I feel like women are okay, but women also have just as bad intentions or just as bad tricks of their own that like as you gain as a man, if you gain a little bit more of a success status, whether it's monetary or public or business-wise, inherently more women are going to find you quote unquote attractive.
That historically is true. It'll be interesting to see if that remains true as women become more autonomous in the workplace.
Sure,
Right.
but I do think. But do you think that's also a thing that
It's
women?
an interesting question. It may either
Yeah.
be part of the wiring or maybe something that's sort of socially reinforced in some weird way. So we'll find out.
See, I think
Time will tell.
If I'm guessing, because I'm just, and obviously I don't know shit, but I just think it's a wired thing that like women tend to or seem to find men who are very driven attractive, even if they weren't successful before. But if they find some success in their drive, regardless of their look, their meter goes up on attractive.
My experience has been, I don't disagree with you again,
Yeah.
and we don't know if it's socially reinforced or whatever, but a big, and you'll find a lot of women agree with this category is competency, like extreme competency. They find appealing.
They like men that can just do it.
Yeah,
That can get whatever it is done.
get it done. Yeah.
No matter, regardless of what the thing is.
Well, but the thing might be they're just seeing them build furniture, and that looks
very
attractive.
competent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because this is a discussion of a lot of people believe in this, like this old nature form of our brain of like women inherently are attracted to men who are providers and creators and
Well, women
that
kind of
thing.
separate though. They have two systems.
Yeah.
One is where they're attracted to that. The other is they're attracted to the highly masculinized, high testosterone animal.
Right.
Male.
The
They have two things going on, and in some women those competing systems operate differently at different time of the month,
Right.
which is really interesting.
So they're into the aggressiveness. They're into the
some are totally turned off by that. But
yeah, that's a big no. But don't you think they need some of that testosterone to be attracted to the man in the first place? They need some of that aggro.
some women.
You don't think all women
No.
need that? No? You think some women could have a man who's
Listen, men are much more uniform. Women are much more diverse in their biologies and all their.
You're saying the complexities are so random, but ours is so much more predictable.
Yeah, we're more narrow, and women are much more complex, much more diverse.
Yeah, and you're right. They do put up with an insane amount of shit. I think about that every time.
Insane
Like,
amount
yeah,
of shit. I don't know how they
absurd.
do it.
Well, I think because they don't. Well, not that they don't have another choice, but like, what do you do? What do you do? What else? What's the other?
Well, I wonder. Jesus, we're getting into weird territory here, but
Yeah.
but the reproductive drive is so powerful,
Right.
That I feel like that they're sort of subjugating their own personal needs to
like
keep that going.
Like sex, probably for a lot of the time for women isn't half as fun as it is for men. For a lot of women,
at certain age groups, that's probably true.
yeah, it's probably just a nightmare.
Seriously, I can't tell you how many young women tell me, "Yeah, I never enjoyed it." I'm like, "Well, why'd you do it? Do you think those guys? Do you think they really, really wanted to and really, really enjoyed it?
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
And if you didn't enjoy it, you should not be doing it. Don't do that.
But it's reinforcements of your social circles.
Well, that's
and
that
people are like-
17-year-old male goal. We all somebody decided the 17-year-old male was what the human needed to be. Could you imagine a worse form of the human being than a 17-year-old male?
Yeah.
And so let's take a 24-year-old female. Let's all try to be like that. I think that's a better way to be.
Yeah, it's a better goal.
And so, I think women are. I remember I was my wife and I were watching a documentary on the Playboy Mansion or something, and we were watching this sort of scene, and there was all these women in bikinis and stuff. And I said, "What?" It was 1978, and I said, "Why did you guys do that? Why you didn't need to? You didn't need to. Why?" She goes, "It's the only move we had. It's all we were granted.
Right, it was the only
source of anything we could get. So
They're pawned. They could only go this way or
took
that way.
We took it.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, that's power. That's amazing. That's
true.
amazing, and that's sad that we.
Well, that
did
was probably
part.
where that was probably in the 70s also where the sexual revolution began, and there was a lot of women started to discover their own.
Yeah, and again, that's when we decided that what they ought to be is a 17-year-old male.
Who's we? I didn't do that. shit.
Just think about what we asked of
Yeah.
women and the whole hookup culture in college campuses and stuff.
Fuck me and don't talk to me ever again and leave me alone.
I used to go to colleges, and I did this for years, and I'd room 800 kids, and I'd go, all right, let's talk about hooking up. I go, hooking up is so great. It's the organizing experience of your social life. Why do you have to be fucked up to do it? Why are you loaded? And I go, let's talk to the men first. Why are you drunk? Why are you loaded every time? And this data shows they're always loaded with a random hookup. And they immediately like, well, I really, 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 really want to do this. And it's I could get rejected and I could hurt somebody and it's really tough and it's hard and it's noisy and loud. But I really want to do it. So I got to make sure I don't have any, my anxiety, my social anxiety.
Right.
I got to deal with it by drinking. Okay. And then I go, okay, ladies, you heard all the males saying that. What's your thing? Why are you drinking? Silence. They just go silent. Like that's a shock to them to hear that.
Huh.
And they go and then then you'll hear in every room at every college, it always went the same way. Someone will go, well, I do it for beer goggles. I want to be like the guy. I go, okay, that's fine, good. That's you. What's happened with the rest of you? Why are you all so quiet? And without exception, some woman in the first third, audiences weirdly distribute themselves.
Totally,
in the room.
dude. Every time. There are specific people sit exactly where they're always going to sit.
It's so weird.
No matter
right?
the part of the country, it doesn't matter.
That's exactly right. So in that first third, towards the middle, like 2/3 of that first third, someone, there's that
Oh, dude, I
grouping.
know.
Yeah. So the woman will raise her hand coyly, and she's not upset. She just goes, she's very serious. Get her the mic, and she goes, I do it to make sure I don't have any feelings when I have sex.
Oh my God.
And I go, wow.
My God.
Isn't that powerful? That's
Wow.
incredible.
Yeah,
That's
is.
not what I heard from the guy.
No.
And I go, how sad. There's something that's genuinely and spontaneous about you as a woman. You have to medicate it away with alcohol. Wow. I wonder if we could do something else. And I sort of explored what else we could do
Right.
that would make it better for them. And I think the Me Too thing is an awakening to all that.
Sure.
I really do. It's like, hey, why have we been doing this? If we have to medicate it away, we feel so bad about it.
That's been such a common.
And now, and by the way, when I bring this up now, people go, "Oh no, women want as much." I'm just reporting what happened every goddamn time I brought this up.
Yeah,
I'm just reporting the data. Everybody,
Right.
you can interpret the data as you wish, but this is the data in every auditorium, in every campus for 5 years straight with 800 kids as my sample.
Jesus.
I would do 20 of those a year,
And the same thing would happen almost every time.
And by the way, the guys that would first answer would always be on the
Yeah,
flanks,
by the
flanks.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly who does that.
And either in the front or the back.
Right. because they want either in the very front, they want all the attention right
Or
away.
way in the back,
or the way in the back.
want to keep drinking. And
Yes,
get high.
exactly. And when they get high and get high. Yeah, that's exactly right.
weird.
It's so it's the same kind of people that do that position themselves in these places. But that's interesting to hear about that response to say, because I don't want to feel anything. I mean, that's like
Profound, right?
yeah. Well, it's almost it's like sad and very.
It's profound.
Yes.
And so I go. How about again in every room I'll answer this. I go. Let's say I had infinite powers. I could create a new social slate for you. I go. How about and they'll always do this too. I go. Well, what would a guy need to do to be more responsive, to make it more the way you want it? What would it look like? I'm confused. You know what? You don't like this? What would it look like? And always the same. She'll go, I wish a guy would just listen to me, just sit and talk to me.
Right.
And I just go, talking? What the fuck does that have to do
Gross.
with sex? Why is talking? Yeah, right, talking.
I gotta
sex.
talk to
What
you.
does that have to do with anything? I go, how about this? I go, how about he talked to you and you broke bread? And then he called you up and you had another meal with him where he listened to you and talked to you. And she's like, oh my God, that'd be awesome.
Right.
Because it's dating.
Sure.
And so I encourage my sons to try to date.
Yeah.
Learn to date because that fits a more healthy. And by the way, it's a super healthy environment for kids to operate. So they start to assess themselves and learn who other people are and learn, they listen to the other person and who am I in relation to that person? And what do I like? What do I not like? That's where that all happens, not in a freaking frat house with
Right.
the music blaring.
Well, but I think isn't that the inherent problem is that they're so young that's what you do. You run to the whole just go out and get
The
drunk and try to
arousal.
hook
The
up,
arousal,
right?
yeah.
Because you don't really learn until you're in your mid to late 20s that you're like, oh, I think men by that time also are more interested in actually finding someone cool, quote unquote, that they're like want to hang out with, right? Because when you're young, you're like, I just want to fucking party and I want to fucking party.
Yeah.
Now, is that a problem of what the male is, or is that a problem with what society does? Because I think that look, I partied a ton in college. I had a good time, and I dated too. But a part of the system was almost like that was it's embedded.
It is institutionalized in college campuses.
Right. And do you think drinking is at the crux of it?
Well, it's certainly an issue in it, and the fact that the college campuses sign off on that.
That they're totally that it's
binge
like
alcohol.
that is what it is.
Not just that's how kids are. That's how kids are.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, we know best. That's how kids are.
Right.
It's like, no, that's not good. You're allowing really pathological behavior to blossom. Well done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if anything else, I feel like college was like a movement to learning people's diseases. Like a lot of people you were like, oh, that guy's an alcoholic. I just learned who was.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's a drug addict. It just became very clear, And I struggled myself with I'd be drinking too much at one point and then learn how to. But I think I was learning a lot about.
Well, to be fair, the biggest problem is the binge alcohol, right? Not the alcoholic, but the binge excess,
right?
That any kid could fall victim to.
I mean, I think so many college kids absolutely do, but it also is because. If we want to get into this is even deeper, but I think America as a whole, our country as a whole, we're on a whiskey podcast, by the way, this is the funniest. No, but our country as a whole, and I always say drink responsibly, unless you're at home.
What time is it, 1:30?
And then blackout. Yeah, pour it, baby. No, I just think our country as a whole has a big reinforcement wall with liquor. It's it's supposed to be. It's a thing.
Yes, I
every
agree.
sporting event, every dinner, every
agree.
game, everything.
No,
you go to a nice dinner. The drinks are more than some of the meals.
Absolutely.
So that's become the culture.
Yes. We reinforce the drug of alcohol.
Yeah.
Blindly.
Well, the government makes a lot of money.
but it's nobody's fault. It's the culture, right?
Right.
It's we all sign off on it. It's a organizing drug in our culture.
Well, we talked about this a little bit on yours, and why like maybe my tolerance is high because of my past and the people, certain origins of the world, why they have more drinking in their blood.
Yeah.
But this is something else I want to ask you about, because in this documentary I watched about Prohibition, they tended to say that those who were going through the worst times didn't drink the most. It was those that were going through like middle ground tough times, right? So like the poorest of the poor,
that's interesting,
didn't have the highest
makes sense.
alcoholism in their community. In fact, like the working class, so to speak, but they didn't call it that. It was something like, it wasn't the wealthiest.
working poor. It's the
Working poor, yes, right.
Yeah.
The working poor, right, yeah. And they had the highest instances.
That makes sense to
because
me.
life was not atrocious,
Yeah.
but it wasn't good.
Yeah.
It was getting by. And I find that that's tended to be maybe the belt line of America, of like most people were kind of just getting by.
Well,
So this helped get through a shitty day.
And we have lost our priorities. We've lost a sense, we've not raised kids to understand what makes life meaningful.
What do you
Family, community,
Right.
service to other people, connection, our love relationships, commitments, giving back meaningfully into the world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where people find happiness, not money.
Right.
And not, I don't know, extreme sports or whatever, big
Extreme
vacations.
sports are awesome though.
They're all
dude.
awesome. It's all awesome.
Yeah.
But it's not the source of happiness.
Sure.
And we don't talk about that very much anymore. I've been thinking about generating like a lecture series on this, because when I say happiness, people don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about anymore.
Right. Well, it's interesting because, and then again, also, what makes me the happiest, honestly, is having a drink with my family at my mom's house and sitting in the living room and talking.
Good.
And telling stories about family. Like those moments to me are the most rich I'll ever have in my life.
Perfect.
Like again, I'm not saying that that's for everybody, but that is why I think this is a centerpiece to a lot of American culture, because it does bring people together.
Oh, it's a social lubricant. And
It's
it does,
wonderful.
And it does
Yeah.
work, and it
Yeah.
does, and it is fun, and it is all these things. That's the truth.
Yeah.
But we amplify it.
Totally.
And we endorse it, and so it's a little concerning.
But let me jump back.
The other thing we've lost track of, by the way, on the other side, in addition to not even knowing what happiness is, we are intolerant of ordinary misery.
What is that? What do you mean?
Life has ordinary misery.
Well, yeah.
All lives.
Yeah, I just
have-
took down my Christmas lights.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
fucking kill myself.
Yeah, I saw that tree. It looked pretty barren. Ordinary misery. When there's a maybe apocryphal, I don't know, but a story about Sigmund Freud when he first hit this country. The reporter's like, Mr. Freud, Dr. Freud, what do you hope to do when you arrive here in America? I hope to be able to determine the difference between real pathology and ordinary misery.
Wow, that's what he said, huh?
Yeah,
Real pathology and ordinary misery.
Yeah. And in this country, we've gone from real pathology to intolerance of ordinary misery. And life has fucked up moments. I mean, it just does.
Totally.
Loss being the big one. And it's the way it is. And
But isn't that extraordinary misery, don't you think? Loss? Ordinary misery to me is like
depends. I mean,
monotony.
That's part of ordinary misery. I agree with you. But if it's your 9-year-old grandmother, the loss is painful, but you can celebrate. If it's your
That's you going, you got to let her go, dude.
yeah, if
she
it's
had
a,
a
if
good
it's an
go.
8-year-old, it's like, oh Jesus,
Right, that's terrible. Yeah.
yeah. And
No, but I think that I'm interested in that as far as like you saying you want to do a lecture about it. What to then obviously there's no one answer, but what do you think is the missing piece of quote unquote happiness now in culture then? What is it that needs to be infused?
If I could sort of encapsulate it, it's a lack of priority in the interpersonal.
Now, do you think this is a forever thing, or is this just in this culture today?
I think it's been brewing for a long time in this country,
Yeah.
and it's been really bad for the last 50 years, I'd say, and that we've devalued family relationships, other Europe and South America and stuff. You can be impoverished, but they're happy because they have their core family unit, they have meaningful contributions in their community.
Right.
They prioritize these things. We have to start prioritizing relationships.
Well, let me ask you this then, because
community.
Look,
And community.
What you're talking is post war, quote unquote, post World War II, right?
No,
So
I
like,
don't want to do that.
you don't want to go that far back.
Where am I saying the problem comes from?
Well, yeah, because I'm saying if you said the
problem
past
comes
50,
from the
60 years,
60s.
In the 60s specifically.
The 60s we started unraveling. The 70s we actually unraveled, and we've not uncovered from.
But do you think that's a product of the post-war, that what happened to this country post-war because of the boomer generation, because of the industry's growth, and I mean, like,
it's hard to
our country exploded.
I know, it's hard to know. Do we have too much money, too much success? I don't know.
I
Or
don't
was
think
there
there's
post-war trauma that got acted
Right.
out? Who knows? I don't know.
Well, there's not one pinpoint, but I guess like I always run back to like my parents' generation, the boomer generation of like the
How old are your
idea,
parents?
huh?
How old are your parents?
Almost. What are they? I don't even know. What is it? They were born in. They're 67.
Okay,
maybe.
so it's my peers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
67. Yeah, something like that. I don't even know.
See, I'm interested. That's not the post-war generation. That's the boomers.
They're boomers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But the post-war generation was what your parents and me were raised by.
Right.
They were very fucked up.
But that's what I'm saying. So don't you think that was the lead into this, the growth of an economy that like exploded, right? And then they have these ideas that they say things like, the family system, the family unit was so strong, but there was also so many things that were huge cracks that weren't talked about in family systems then too.
And all that kind of opened up and unraveled. Yeah.
Right. So my point is, I think Americans still have good family core values. I think
They wish to.
they want to, right?
Yeah.
They pine to, but I think there's so many more distractions today. That's why I say
I agree.
today it's more because of culture, right? Like this phone. I just showed you a good-looking girl who I disagreed with that was good-looking on my phone, right? Like that's a conversation that I can have with my friends within seconds.
Yep.
Right? That's not a real thing that could happen 20,
Yep.
30 years ago. So the influence of things like your just your own sexuality or your own feelings towards people and all of these quick responses you can get from your peers.
It's having a huge it's affecting us.
It's making us our own worst critics of everything, and then we can be in our own little thing and not have to worry about
amplifying things in such a rapid way that I agree. That's
our sex style is going to be the demise of male culture.
Probably more the real VR stuff.
Well,
Heavy duty virtual reality.
Yeah, when we do VR stuff, you
that's
think
what
so?
I worry about.
If it gets good.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I got to tell you, it's bad. I tried it in San Francisco, and it's still bad.
Is it VR porn or VR?
I did.
VR?
I did the highest level of VR that they had. I put on a backpack on me. It vibrates when you go through different things to make you feel as if you're doing them, and it was obviously induced for porn. I mean, like that's the funniest part. That they're like, "This is for real life." You know what I was like? This is so people can feel like they're fucking.
Oh Jesus!
It's like a machine on your back. You know what I mean? It's a What do they call that? It's the same thing that's inside your phone when a weight rotates in a circle and it creates a vibrating motion.
Whatever.
It's the exact same thing on your back. A gyro, yeah. So it's the same thing, and it's like just so you could feel the vibration of sex. And I put it on, and I was walking through like a forest or whatever the fuck they had set up. It was still so terrible that I was like, "This has got to be 50 years away from."
Yeah, it's probably away. Good, which is good. I
So,
don't want to see.
so
it
we'll
hit.
be dead when it
Fine,
happens.
fine.
All right, good. That's good. That's a good perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let-
No,
let
but
it be.
but I think because when I see the dolls online, you know, and
when I see that stuff, I just think about loneliness, which is the other big problem we have.
so you couldn't be a healthy, well-adjusted person and have a sex doll.
Didn't say that.
No, I'm asking.
I imagine that's possible, but when I see those dolls, I think, oh my God, you must be so lonely and desperate to have to do this, and that's that.
What if it's a married man who him and his partner don't enjoy having sex with one another, but they enjoy
No, more importantly, what you have to think about, because this is stuff I see all the time.
Yeah.
It's a married man and his wife suddenly gets dementia or has cancer and is really sick, or I mean, what do you do with those guys?
let him fuck a sex doll? Like,
Sure.
Yeah. So it should be. I think the government should subsidize that. Listen, dude, if you get like ALS, it's like give that guy a sex doll, man. Let him fuck.
So there are variations on the theme, but that's not the people buying the sex doll. You know that.
Yeah, no, I know. I know.
People buying the sex doll.
I'm going to use your terms. I haven't done the data, but what I think is it's lonely, sad.
My instinct is,
yeah. Like, but I've said this. I used to say this in my old album. One of my favorite first jokes in my old album was about the fact that women could have 1,000 sex toys, and none of that is socially unacceptable or also taboo. Men have one, and we're freaks. We're disgusting. So even if I have even if a guy has like a thing that he jerks off, like a fleshlight, you're automatically, it's almost like ooh, gross, why, weird.
What's fascinating to me is that it is gross.
Well, see, why is it gross?
I don't know.
But why is it okay if a woman has a million?
It's not gross. I don't know why. Maybe there's something very deeply psychological here about external versus internal.
Right.
That these representations somehow affect our brains in different ways. And,
see-
one has disgust and one has, it's hidden. I can't, no, it doesn't bother me.
See, no, I think it shouldn't be. I think that stereotype
should
be
is
broken.
different. That should is a different
I know,
question.
I
Because a lot of this, much of the stuff we've talked about today shouldn't be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be.
And but what I've always said is we need to discuss what is so we can help things be the way they should be.
Yes.
If you don't discuss what is, how do you get to should? Because you're fighting a ghost. You're fighting, an opponent
Right.
that you haven't looked at yet.
Yeah.
You need to fully assess and how do we get out of that and change it to where we should be.
Well, and that like tying that all in, I think that's an establishment of what is a lot of root issues for relationship problems is because we don't really talk about, myself included, like we don't really get to the depths of like what we like and what we don't like in great detail in order to like move forward and progress to be
We
like,
also
"This is
don't-
what I like, I don't like,
We also, you and I have found ourselves into a very kind of a deep conversation where we're talking about very instinctive responses we have to things. It's hard to get there in a day in, day out kind of conversational
Totally.
way.
Most people don't.
We sat here for an hour and we got to this point,
Yeah.
right? And it's not everyone can do it, by the way.
Right.
I'm sort of used to doing stuff like that after years of therapy and helping people and stuff like that. I automatically go to these deeper spots and can kind of feel what they're about. And I kind of in tune. I'm connected to all that because I did shit tons of work
Right.
to be able to talk to people that lie to me constantly, i.e. drug addicts, and be able to understand and be able to suss out what's going for them.
Your bullshit detector is through the roof then.
No, I'm like a mind reader. I'm like, I don't really literally read minds. I just feel what's going on. And so it's not a bullshit detector so much as like my body is like a antenna. Wow. And so I can sit across from somebody and it picks it up.
So when I said I wasn't gay, you didn't believe me, did you?
It's not that I didn't believe you. It's that there was more to be explored.
Shit, now this is going to get out and everyone's going to be like, I told you, bro, those pictures were real. No, but that is because you do listen to it. You have done the work. I think that's like the most important thing that none of us really want to go through those because those are agonizing. Like, I have done the couples therapy thing and it's fucking agonizing.
Yeah.
Oh, this is what the last thing I want to ask you. Will you kiss me? No. The last thing I'll ask you is I am interested to know because therapy and a lot of Americans, I focused on the show a bunch on because I struggle with anxiety and a little bit of depression, mostly anxiety.
Me too.
And the fans know I used to have ocular migraines and I've talked heavily about. I want fans to write in and I've talked to a few as much as I can about the experience of having panic attacks from something physical, right? Like something physical causes an attack.
I my panic attacks, which I had disabling panic attacks when I was like 19,
Same.
and they started getting triggered by a high pitched tone in my ear. It was very weird.
Like it was like, "Woo."
yeah,
And then
and then I'd fall into panic.
Holy shit.
Weird. It was triggered in some weird
Mine
way.
was I would go blind.
Oh yeah,
Ocular migraine. It's a precursor trigger
Yeah.
for a migraine, which is
Yeah.
crazy because I don't get migraines.
yeah.
So I didn't even know what that
You have
was.
you have the shimmery stuff.
I can't see anything.
Oh, you actually go down.
I almost go totally blind.
So you have a full. It's called an aura. It's a full It's
aura.
a full migraine. Yeah.
Yeah, so what
Whether you
happens
have
is-
migraine, non-headache migraine.
Well, yeah.
You may get
the
that.
headache usually comes.
I was going to say those
thereafter.
people usually get the headaches eventually.
But it doesn't really. It's not as bad of a headache as I thought it was going to be.
It will be.
It grows over time.
Yeah, often.
Well, so I would go blind in my whole right eye.
It's not your right eye. It's that the whole field goes out on the
Sure,
right. So
but I could only see
this side
out-
on the right and this side.
I could
on
only
the
see out here. I could see a little bit
okay,
there.
so it's going this way. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so fun.
it's
But that
awful.
used to cause crazy panic attacks.
Scare, sure.
I would have the
It's a
worst
scary
I'd
thing.
end up in the ER. I'd be in a fucking another CAT scan or whatever, or whatever it is.
It's a really scary thing.
Yeah, I hate it. But what I was saying was, after all these years of trying to figure out like good therapy, the problem is I found myself cynically, because of my personality, finding therapists, whether couples or personal, that weren't good, that I believe weren't not that they were bad at their job, but they just like we didn't have a connection.
It's hard to find the right therapist. It is hard.
Right, like I
It
feel like that's
really
a thing that plagues people is they're like I just don't trust them or I don't.
Not only the right person, but the right therapeutic modalities.
Sure.
And there's all kinds of therapies out there.
So how do you do it then?
Well, a lot of what it's really hard, man. When I went into therapy, it was many years ago. But I had a psychiatrist friend of mine, and she was like, "Let me give it some thought." And she thought about it for a month before she gave me the referral.
Wow.
And nailed it.
She had
for
it
me.
right. Yeah,
Just
right.
nailed it. And so in a way, you kind of need. I hate to say it, but you kind of need help.
You need help getting help?
Yeah.
It's fucking insane.
You
should create a system of
I am
like
just thinking, yeah, maybe.
Seriously.
Because CBT is one kind of therapy that's sort of very, very popular right now. And it does have some evidence-based use to it. Emotionally focused therapy, I think, is really good, but finding the right person to do that. Trauma-based therapies and who does good EMDR versus not. Should you use neurobiofeedback and who does neurobiofeedback? And how about dialectical behavioral therapies? And I will tell you there's one uniform feature that determines outcome. You want to give a guess to what that is? In a therapist's sort of
what determines
toolkit? I mean, in terms of what is it about a therapist toolkit that determines good outcomes versus average outcomes?
Probably the willingness from the participant.
Well, that's for sure true. But, but the therapist side.
Oh, from their side?
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine their level of either study or interest, right? Like if they're...
Well, you're almost there. Empathy.
Right. Empathy,
So,
right.
so the depths of attunement, which I told you about how I use like my whole body to attune, the depths of attunement determines the quality of outcomes no matter what modality is used.
Wow.
So all these different modalities as practiced, if they're practiced in the setting of a deep empathic attunement, that's the ingredient that's necessary to make them all work.
Wow.
And so if you can find the right person, and that's kind of what you're complaining about, that you don't have the depth you're looking for.
Yeah, because we found people that I just found very surfacey and...
See, I think if you want EFT, emotionally focused therapies for couples, is really good. EFT. I can help you with that.
Well, see, I would want it less for us. I'd want stuff more for me, to be honest with you. Like the old bag and I are in a pretty good place. I just want more for me for stuff that I need to get cleared off. Because I have just I have bad anger issues. I have really bad anger issues. I'm just quick to jump. I'm quick to get angry, and then that translates onto her and my relationship.
Yeah.
But that's almost all my fault. Like I don't see that in the moment, but in retrospect, I always know I'm like, well, I did all that bullshit. I was the one that ruined the end of the day. I fucked up a whole end of the day, and I know I did. Because I started like an asshole. I said some dumb shit about the outside that I had to do the thing, get on the roof and change the fucking timer. I did all that shit. And so that topples into like, well, then why are you mad at dinner? Like, oh, I fucking did that because I
feel like a very motivated, like you would benefit from the kinds of things that happens in 12-step. I'm not advising 12-step. I'm saying that kind of peer-oriented.
I've done Al-Anon.
Okay, well, so the peer level, like somebody you can really relate to, who really listens to you, that's kind of what you need.
You say I need friends?
Well, that's a tall order for you, man. I know that's rough, but it's more than that.
Friends.
More than that.
Yeah.
It's like you need a sponsor, but I'm not saying you should do that.
Sure.
It's that kind of relationship I feel like you need, and you should be able to find that in a therapist. I got a guy.
You give me some people, because here's my thing. I'm being genuine. You know how these fucking people start these dating website services to be like the matchmaker bullshit.
Yeah.
And they're very, very successful. These people are very famous, and there's millions of them. A few that I see every time I'm looking at an Airplane magazine. It's like these women that are like, "Let me find your match," you know, and all this shit.
All I need is $100,000.
right. All is your firstborn and a vial of blood. I don't understand why there isn't that thing for therapy of all sorts.
Yeah,
how
you're
come
right.
there isn't a system?
Hey, you're right. Well, what in a properly functioning here's how the system should work. Should work. You should go to your doctor, a primary doctor, and go, "I'm anxiety and depressed." To go, let me get a psychiatric evaluation to make sure that what this is going on and what the recommendations are. Psychiatrist then has a stable of people that they can call upon who then refer you in based on what that person's impression is.
But from the jump, that's even hard because how do you find a good doctor?
Listen, I know.
All this
shit
doesn't
work this way. It doesn't work this way.
This is the problem with this whole system. This is like the healthcare system in America is already so flawed. It's so funny to me. It's like, we moved up here. I don't even know how to get a dentist. Like I know how to pick one from my network. How do I know? What I'm throwing. I know. I'm throwing a dart at a board that I don't know anything about.
Yeah.
You know what's so fucked up about it? It's like you tend to choose by, and whether or not people hate me for saying this, you choose by like race and age. That's all you really do.
Well, you look
at a guy's name, you look at their picture.
You look at whatever, the bells and whistles are there that make you feel good, and you
that's
go
what I'm saying.
That.
It's bullshit.
Yeah,
that's bullshit. The problem is like, I would rather know nothing about the human being, but get a recommendation and go, this person is good for you. I don't give a fuck if it's a man, it's a woman, it's purple, it's blue, I don't care what it is. Yeah. But the problem is when you look at a photo in one of these things, you automatically go to, I want an older guy because I think an older person would be. You do all that shit,
So dumb.
You start a network.
That's why you need an ombudsman, which is what primary care is supposed to be. Boy, primary care is dead in this country.
Ombudsman?
Ombudsman, representative in the system.
Oh, you're going to be my ombudsman.
Okay, I'll try.
You can be my ombudsman. The three things we learned is Dr. Drew is going to be my ombudsman.
You're gay.
I'm gay, and women put up with so much shit.
Yes,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
I appreciate you,
but we're grateful for them.
Yeah, no, we are. We need them.
And evaluate what is so we can get to what should.
Yeah, evaluate what it is so we know what we can get to. What is what should?
Or how to get to should.
How to get to should.
Yeah.
I want you to leave. I'm going to walk off camera. I want you to leave them with a word or a phrase. Could be one word, could be one phrase, nice, short, and sweet. I'm going to get off camera. You say it right into camera and tell the fans.
And the meaning is supposed to be anything.
Matter. You say anything you want. Just say whatever you want.
I have two sort of impulses. All right, I'll do this one. Let me just say, personally, for some reason, the word perfidy keeps coming up in my mind. It's a weird word. It's come up spontaneously in my thinking. So I think what that is suggesting is be careful with the truth. Find the truth, and you're worth it.
In here, we pour whisk, 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 whisk.
You were that creature in the ginger beard.
Sturdy and ginger.
Like vampires, the ginger gene is a curse.
Gingers are beautiful.
You owe me $5 for the whiskey and $75 for the horse.
Gingers? Oh, hell no.
This whiskey is excellent.
Ginger. I like gingers.